Awesome, awesome. Appreciate y'all. So, um, real quick, just if this is your first time on a call, if it's your 100th time on a call, feel free to say hello in the chat, name, where you're coming from, agency role. Always great to hear where folks are coming from. Um, we'll do a little quick check-in on May 20th. We had a speaker come in our Readiness and Adoption Committee around open contracting. So I'll just rehash some of that and just share out probably the most useful links that we found from that. We've got an upcoming speaker in 2 weeks coming here. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll hit the project updates, and then we'll have time for one-on-one support and take the time for if anyone wants to talk through their own personal adoption support, needs, questions. We're here to take that time, make that time. So with that, and yes, please, yeah, put yourself in the chat, say hello, build the community. If at least you can get something from this, hopefully it's another government friend. So thank you for that. Uh, so um, for those that we're here, we're not here for our last readiness and adoption committee meeting. We had George Newman and Catherine Frauscher share with us some interesting news around what is called the Open Contracting Partnership. And let me see if I can exit this screen and you can still see things. Here we go. Um, and I'll drop the link to this in the chat. But Open Contracting Partnership, they are a nonprofit that we've been closely connected with thanks to some of our work with Data and Society and Meg Young. Um, they do a lot of work around how we think about AI procurement, right? Buying AI tools in the government. If you're looking for guidance on how to think about buying AI tools in government, the first place that I'd recommend is you take a look at our GovAI Coalition templates and the work that's been going on there. I'll drop a link to that in the chat. Um, and you can take a look at, we've got pre-baked language that you can put in contracts with your vendors around AI tools. A little further down on this page, right here, this vendor agreement document. That's a great place to get started, to just have something to implement, put into a legal rider when you're purchasing AI tools. We've seen state, local, federal, educational, government agencies across the country use this. It's something that vendors are becoming acquainted with, and it can really provide you some good protections that um, also are becoming standard. So that's a great place to start. But say you want to get deeper into how you're thinking about buying AI and procurement, a great place to go is what Open Contracting Partnership has put together. Um, Really, what we try to do in the coalition is bring this brilliance to us in the government here. And I think some of their work around providing actionable, clear information on how to think about buying AI in the public sector right now, incredibly useful. So if you are in a moment of procurement or thinking through that, highly recommend take a look at what might be useful there. Um, and also, I want to just take a moment. If anyone on the call was there and had things that stood out for them or something that they just want to highlight for this group, now's a good moment. I'll give folks a few seconds, and also welcome to drop things in the chat if you had some thoughts on it. Uh, yeah, Ben, please.
Yeah, I had to hop off a little early, but just appreciated the session. So, one of the things we're hearing from a lot of institutions here in the Midwest of higher education is that they're all kind of on different procurement journeys. So, oftentimes, just hearing what the best practices are across the wider public sector is really beneficial because this is relatively new to a lot of folks. And a lot of discussion around tokens and things like that, and elements of the procurement space that are new to a lot of folks. So, really appreciated the opportunity to get a little bit of a different lens on it. And is hearing feedback from other folks that are working in different elements of public life. So yeah, I found it very beneficial.
So, well, glad to hear that, Ben. And we're really excited for what the Readiness and Adoption Committee is putting out there to share this information. And Ben, just as a side note, if you want to start thinking about, or let me phrase it. I'm sure you're thinking about how, the AI procurement works in the higher ed. If there's any way that either myself, Sayer, or the GovAI Coalition can help you help the broader higher education, if you want to talk through like what's the things to know, what type of materials we should put together, shoot me an email. I don't know if you have my email, but I'll just drop that in the chat. Um, it's it's a space that if there's enough similarity, there's somewhere where we can help. You know, having both the education and the and the I don't know how to call it bureaucratic, the boring sides of government, on the same page helps everyone. So
Yeah, and we're putting together a community of practice of information
perfect,
technology practitioners, across our region, just to start having those
awesome.
conversations across universities and systems, specifically, because oftentimes what we're hearing about are not necessarily your R1 institutions, but oftentimes, your R2s, are really trying to, reckon, with this space. They're getting calls from administrators, state level stakeholders that, hey, this is something you need to focus on. So, yeah, a lot of discussion in the space. So, absolutely appreciate the contact.
Yeah, of course, of course. Looking forward to whatever comes. So, uh, with that, I want to highlight June 17th. We're gonna have. Uh, oh, sorry, Sayer. Did you come off mute? I didn't mean to step on you.
No, I was excited for them to be here and just wanted to think and excited about you. Ben, you said you're here for the first time.
I've popped on a few before, but relatively new, just in like the last 2 months or so.
Okay, great. Yeah, we also have the training paths and what have you, like Albert said. I am also looking forward to collaborating with you and see how we can do these together. So I just wanted to welcome you and thank you for your participation.
Yeah, thanks much. Appreciate it.
So, um, June 17th, we are going to have a new guest, Nell Escher from Berkeley and Ben Green from University of Michigan, talking about what they're seeing around algorithm auditing and what we've been seeing around some of frankly, the struggles and how we're trying to tackle them around. You can buy an AI tool, and in for the last 20 years, the way we've been buying software is does the software reliably turn on and not crash, and can it reliably protect and secure my data? But an AI tool can do all of that and still be useless if it's predicting things poorly, if it's giving you bad outputs, right? It's getting closer to that space where we need to evaluate its performance. And how do we actually do that in the field? How do we check what it's doing, making sure that it's doing the thing we expect it to do, and it's doing it in the way we expect it to. So really excited to have them come in, talk through. They, one of my favorite things about this is that we can bring in academics who they've written brilliant papers on this, but actually start having the conversation here where we can ask them questions around how it actually translates to what we're doing in the field. And so excited for that conversation happening on the 17th. And let's see. I think with that, we're just gonna dive into some quick status updates. So for those of you that are new to our Readiness and Adoption Committee, we've got a few working groups underneath it that are focused on different aspects of how do we make sure that people are prepared and ready to go when it comes to both using AI, but also governing this stuff. So with that, Lon, I see you're on the call, as is Rick. I'll pass it to you all if you wanted
Yeah,
to
sure,
speak a
sure.
bit on this. Yeah,
No, I can take this one. Thank you. Yeah, so do you have this slide that Lon sent?
this is the slide that I
Yeah, there we
got.
go. Perfect.
Okay,
Great. Okay, terrific. So we are so the training working group is continuing to progress. We still meet every couple of weeks, and at one of our prior meetings in the last month or so, Albert was observing that the group as a whole is doing a really good job for the adopters, the people in that team, and and that there are a few people who have been really prolific in building out really nice content. But we want to make sure that this is having more reach and that, that we're actually making sure that this is a template that lots of people can adopt and are adopting. And so we still have essentially four core pillars of what we're doing. We've got three playbooks that we've talked about every time we've had this meeting, and those are now being absolutely finalized. And with the organization turning into a nonprofit, we're expecting to be actually having sessions over the summer in the coalition-wide meeting where we'll be introducing these. There's the concept of doing a fourth playbook. We still aren't quite sure whether we want to take that on. We have since we formed, we've folded in the fire and police organizations into our group, and so those are clear candidates, and those are already progressing independent of us as they're joining. But we're also thinking about doing things about leadership and not so much a training for leaders, but a training that would build a leadership champion mentality into a team. So because we've kind of agreed that there's plenty of leadership programs out there, and leaders aren't really looking to be in a classroom setting so much. It's more learning by example. So they could be the champions, but it's really about instilling. Since a lot of what happens with AI in terms of successful outcomes in organization agencies is around those people who are the champions and the most prolific within their groups. They're leaders by default, but not necessarily in management roles. And so that's one area. And actually, just in the use cases committee, the last use case committee meeting, there was a really interesting presentation on vibe coding. And I've been approaching the person who did that vibe coding presentation and asked about whether she might be interested in doing something along the lines of a playbook or a workbook that's rooted in that to make that replicable. So that's going to be a topic probably in the coming month for us. We also on certifications, it's a little outside of the group, but it's descendant from the group, and Albert's been working with a member of our team, and they're looking at designing a test for certificate for what's called a certified civic AI professional, and that process is ongoing, and we actually have a draft curriculum that could be applied to that. And so the first step is just ensuring that we're on track to create the certification. And then as soon as that's blessed, then we'll make decisions about exactly what we want to do around curriculum and programs for that. The on metrics, this is really about making it so that we can evaluate, so the company or agencies can evaluate how these training artifacts are working for them, or training playbooks, et cetera, and any kind of application of them in teams, because there's a lot of options for training out there, and we've prescribed a few that have been very well accepted in organizations that are in that 5%, the groups that are leading our team. But we want to make sure that people have a good sense of how to really evaluate what's happening in teams. And we've created a couple of artifacts around that. But we're also, I just posted one of the key conversations that we've been having recently is around operationalizing training and human in the loop. And so along those lines, I just posted in the AI training working group, the Slack channel that's on the left of the slide, two things this morning. One is a durable skills framework that America Succeeds put out. They're actually the group that coined the term durable skills. That, a lot of people have been using soft skills and durable skills interchangeably, but they've basically created this wheel that's in the Slack channel if people go there, that has 10 durable skills that you would see in a job posting. And then out of each of those, they have a whole set of actual competencies that comprise that skill. And they're looking to to work with partners and to formalize the actual rubrics that would be around defining, qualifying that people have those skills as you're upskilling your team or bringing in new talent. And so the rubrics and assessment are a really great part of how you can apply these metrics. Another thing I brought up that relates to this last topic of outcomes and collaborative innovation is that I was at the Apprenticeships for America conference summit in DC a couple weeks ago, and Google released an apprenticeship toolkit that's specifically around AI and introducing AI into apprenticeships, how occupations can evolve and what skills, and there's a whole mix of technical and durable skills in that, and it's incredibly well researched. It's very much what I'm doing in my consulting practice, outside of the GovAI Coalition, but with the Google machinery behind it, and it's very vendor neutral. So even if you're a Microsoft shop, this really applies nicely, and so that's those are things that I would encourage people to take a look at. We're always trying to bring things to the table can find valuable. And the last thing I want to talk about is around collaborative innovation. And Lon and her organization, Cyber Trust America, have really gone in a nice direction in terms of she has an internship that's now funded, where she's been collaborating with various agencies around the country, and specifically Jefferson County, which has been one of our more prolific groups. So she's now has funding for, it might be as many as 10. There's certainly a good number of apprentices who are now all versed in the agentic framework that our playbooks are about, and and are looking to flex that on meaningful projects that to build their experience while solving problems that might fall outside of the skills or availability of existing agencies. So this is really a cool starting point, and we're looking to, and I'm interested in expanding this into apprenticeships. Lana's as well. That's where my skill set is mostly based. So anyway, that's pretty much what we have for the training working group. Is there anything, Lon, that you'd like to add to that?
Thank you, Rick. You pretty much covered everything. I just want to echo what you said. So one thing, so that the people in this call could think about the opportunities. To Albert's point, so we're here to present opportunities and collaborate together for outcomes. So the opportunities, as Rick mentioned, we will have trained students from colleges to work on projects related to AI, etc. So, and the format is such that the students will work on projects for our nonprofit first and foremost. So in that process, they will test their skills that they have learned from universities and colleges. And then after that, their time will be open to help government entities, and that we can work together to scope your needs. And if it's a good fit, then we will match professionals as mentors and the student interns to work on the government projects together. So one of the first ones we're doing now is actually on the metrics. So once that is done, we'll see if it could be helpful to some of our member governments, like South End in Indiana. So just
Awesome.
to highlight
Lon,
that, Rick. Yeah.
Lon, and, I can follow up with you all on the June 8th meeting, but um, I want to see when the internship is prime time, if that's something that once the interns are trained and they're ready to go, maybe that's something where we can offer out to the coalition if there are 10 agencies that are interested in getting the specific support that these interns are trained for. We could potentially connect them if you haven't already connected them.
Oh, that would be great. Albert.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk more on it on the 8th, but I wanted to flag that. And then two, Rick, just letting you know, the vibe coding stuff that you'll be working on with the person that you're going to reach out to. In parallel to that, the use cases committee, I've been I'm working with them on building out we're going to have like an interview slash walkthrough guide that we're going to do of how someone vibe coded a website solution that they provided as like one of the web pages for their city's website. So I think we can package some stuff pretty nicely together, and we can talk more on that later. But I think we're coming to a nice point of being able to package some of this vibe coding starter pack together for government. So, oh, you're on mute, Rick. You're on mute. Oh, I don't. Can you hear me, Rick?
I meant to say I was muted. I was wondering if the video that woman gave, Melanie, I think was her name, was that actually recorded when they had the use cases committee meeting?
Oh yeah, yeah. The all use case committee meeting recordings are on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. So I think what I'd like to do is give people a heads up for that and let her just talk to the training working group, and by then she'll might be
Awesome.
further along in what you're doing. But yeah, if you could send me the link to that meeting, that YouTube or something, that would be great. Or just post it obviously in the Slack. And
Yeah.
also, I should mention that the next meeting, the June 8th meeting, we will be one topic is around anything that people might want to present as a topic for the summit in December. We touched on it a little bit in the last meeting, but the deadline for submitting is June 17th, and it might be a chance for people to meet some other people that might want to collaborate on a topic and just bless a topic from our working group perspective. So that's pretty much the wrap for our group.
Awesome. And Sean, I saw you just drop a heads up in the chat. If Jennifer wanted to touch on what you mentioned in the chat, that might be useful for folks.
Yeah, I don't know much yet. I haven't explored it myself, but I know it's on the business and enterprise plans before it expands more broadly. But it's basically an easy way to vibe code your work, ideas, and plans into interactive websites using Codex. So really cool. I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out.
Cool. And Jennifer, I see you've already got people asking in the chat, but maybe if you
Yes,
wanted
let
to speak
me,
on it.
yes, definitely. Let me introduce myself. Let me just figure out how to turn on my camera here. Can you see me? Oh, there you go. Hi. Well, nice to
Hey,
meet everybody. I actually work in the city of North Richland Hills here in Texas,
cool.
and I'm in the city manager's office. And so one of the things that I do in my role is try to be innovative, find new, different, and ways of doing things. And I'm actually overseeing right now a couple of efficiency audits. And so one of the things that I did is I started looking into how to use AI for some of these tools and some of these things that I'm needing to do. And when I went out to Google Grow, I saw that they have a new certificate. It's called AI Professional Certificate. And I actually signed up for it. So the great part about it is that it has 7 different courses that you have to master. So AI fundamentals, AI brainstorming and planning, AI for research and insights, AI for writing and communicating, AI for content creation, data analysis, and for app building. And so when you get to the very last course, you do vibe coding, but you use their development platform. So there you go. That's what it is right there. And so it's pretty easy to get through. I found it very informative, very intuitive. The platform that they're using is called Coursera. And so you do have to pay for that. It's like a monthly subscription. And depending on how long you take. So it's a self-paced, self-study type of course. But if you scroll up on that page, you'll see that it kind of recommends the number of hours, roughly maybe 8 hours altogether. And that's the number of videos and the length of time of videos, as well as the different projects you do and taking quizzes. But I found it to be overall a great course to take, because if you've never taken anything in AI before and you're really trying to learn, this gets you through each of the major sections. And they have other certificates that you can do too to grow on those skills. But really, as a starting point, I found this to be pretty fantastic. And for the price of what it cost, which was that monthly, I think it was like $49, $50, that's not bad for doing that. And the fact that Google is just offering these trainings really to anyone. They have many more options, but I found this to be really key to developing my AI skills even further than what I already had. So I thought I would share that with the group in case anybody was interested.
And Jennifer, we'd love to have you join our working group if you're interested in that. I mean, we are completely focused on these training models. The one thing that's different, as I understand it, between what I was mentioning, that's also from Grow with Google, the Google apprenticeship thing, and it would be great if you wanted to start this dialogue outside of this call, but in our training group. Slack channel, because then you'll get exactly the people that are focused on this kind of thing. But the apprenticeship program that they have, that toolkit is completely vendor neutral, whereas my understanding of the AI program that you're describing is, even if it's a very short program and with Coursera, it's still very much part of rooted in the Google suite of tools.
It is.
And yeah, and just because so many places are Microsoft shops, that's one of the reasons I haven't been, personally, putting that on the table. But I'd love to see the reaction now that you're putting it on the table. And the Slack channel is a great place to just socialize things like that.
Okay, I think I saw your link there, so I'm going to go ahead and join.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, please. And Jennifer, like Rick said, look, all the things that you find useful, whether it be for Google, Microsoft, Claude, if you name it, this is where we can kind of support each other and share what works for us, right? Um, without any bias or perspective. We try to keep this space free of any vendors, and this is not a space for solicitation. So, share what works for you.
Yeah,
Right?
definitely. Thank you. We're actually on the starting point of implementing some AI here at the city, where we're looking at some specific types of products and whatnot. And so just really on my own time, I thought, you know what, I need to sharpen my skills. I need to find something that will, get me up to speed on everything that I need to be, looking at, and anything that could potentially impact me and, possibly our city. So that's why I took that route, because they had something that was readily available. And, I knew that Google has a lot of tools, but like many other agencies, we are not a Google shop. We're a Microsoft ecosystem. So it is kind of hard to kind of integrate that if you don't already have that. But really, if you're trying to learn on your own, and that's something I keep trying to do, then it's a great option, especially if you need something pretty quick that will get you through it, at least get you started. So I thought I would share that in case anyone else was interested.
Yeah, and Jennifer, this is Seher, and like Rick said, this is very interesting, and I've had people asking me as well on some of the readily available stuff. But Rick and Lon are doing, for you or those of you not aware of the subcommittees for this readiness and adoption group, they have the whole training paths, playbooks, and what have you, like you saw on the previous slides. They're developing, and some of the playbooks, I don't know if you got to see them, but it's so good. So when you are doing your own your own journey of learning, path and what have you, bringing that to that work group to see what they are developing, if there is something that you can, in my opinion, that would be a very meaningful contribution where you are learning yourself and seeing what's being developed. Maybe you can help us, incorporate some of your thoughts or something, or something like that. But giving back, joining these committees are is so helpful in my opinion, again, for your own development and to help all of us here, I guess. So this is very exciting, and please consider Rick's offer to join their group as well.
Definitely. I'll look at that. I think I may have clicked on that and joined because it sent me a code. So hopefully I'm in the right place. But I would love to. Anything to learn something new and really to keep up to speed, because AI is just changing like dramatically every day. There's always something new. So I think the more the merrier, especially when we get to talk together about it and explore different options. I think that's wonderful. And I think it's great really for any agency, whether it's local government or private industry. It just helps us grow.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So I just wanna highlight on this training side, and as Rick was mentioning, the coalition has our YouTube channel, for those that are unfamiliar, which I believe Rick was asking about some of the examples that were shared in the use cases committee. We've got playlists for the use cases committee, for this committee, coalition wide. And so this is a great place for you to check out. As Rick was mentioning, you can see some of the past examples of building things with vibe coding, like in our April use cases committee meeting. We had a great conversation around what other agencies are doing around vibe coding yesterday. And this is also a great place to see some of the walkthroughs and adoption around whether it be using tools, where to get started on the GovAI Coalition. All that material is here. Some of it's great to listen to as just a little podcast on the side, to get some of this information. So Rick and others highly encourage you to take a look here. I put the link in the chat to check some of that out. And I noticed, just to flag for, someone asked about the data center opportunity form. Sean, I don't know if you're at a computer or not, but if you're able to drop the link to the coalition opportunity form in the chat for Kauser, that'd be great. If not, I'll pull it up in a little bit. So with that, let me check. So now we're at the point where we want to just highlight Sayer and the team. Do you want to take this? Yeah,
I
please.
can take this. Thank you, Albert. So we for everybody that has been here or anybody new today, we have this one-on-one appointment-based support available for various different things like listed community engagement, data governance, policy support. I do see signups on policy support, and we've been meeting. Some of them have reached out via the forum, some of them otherwise. But this is for everybody, like, whether you yourself or anybody that might need help in understanding how to get started or how to get help on any specific area. Like, if you need data governance, like once you have policy established, or like you are probably getting your policy either developed or want to refine it, or need help on how to go, where to go once it is once the policy is established. So we have 0 to 90 days, a path, how to get started, and various different things. So you can book the appointment from the link provided here on the deck, which will be shared with everybody. You can book time with me for policy, and then for the other groups too. Other folks will be able to help. and we can go that route. Let me take a pause and see if anybody has any questions on this. Okay, doesn't look like there are any. Oh, let me see in the chat. Yeah, if there are no questions, just wanted to put it out there that there is one-on-one support available as well. And while I have your attention, I also wanted to put another thing out there. We have, the Readiness and Adoption group has various subgroups like, the learning group with Lon and Rick, who just presented. And, we have a track for the learning path for the police department, for the fire department. The fire department is fully in motion. There are 5 courses and 5 different courses that are already there that folks can benefit from. I already, for example, for my city of Detroit, even though I don't work or support fire department, but just as a help from that, I am getting getting the benefit from the coalition. I take to my fire department and tell them what's available and um, how they can benefit from it. And there's been good collaboration on the fire side. Now, having said that, we are also trying to get the police side started as well. Dan, the chief of another city, and I are developing goals for AI for police as well, and any training goals or anything else that we can get basic understanding training and things like that. So if you know, or if you have any contacts in your agencies with police department, please share that with us or introduce them to me. I've shared my email address in the chat. That way, we will have more people collaborating, and we really need, what I'm looking for is your favor in getting more participation in the police path of the training. Any questions on that? If not, I'll turn it back to Albert. I know the last slide is on how we can get involved. We all can. There's so much we can learn from each other. So back to Albert.
Awesome. Thank you, Sayer. And look, if it hasn't been clear from this meeting, so much of this it's all volunteer driven. It's building this up together as a community. Those one-on-one support, that's just volunteers in government and civil society helping each other as we navigate this. So I want to be very clear about that. Like, that's free. The building stuff that we're doing is free because it's all us helping each other. So, um, say hello, get involved, email me, email Sayer. If there's something, especially if there's something where you're thinking, I need something for my government agency and I could use some help from experts. I could use some help from researchers. I could use some help from other governments as they're building this stuff out themselves. That's the perfect kind of stuff, because then we can knock something out on your plate and also we can serve the rest of the coalition. So with that, that's about all we've got. So what I want to do here is, for those of you who, thank you for taking the time. If you're on the West Coast, thanks you for taking lunch. If you're on, the East Coast, I hope your day is ending pretty soon. Feel free to hop off if you'd like to talk through any type of support. So if you've got some questions around navigating the policy, the governance, any of that stuff, I'll be on. And Sayer, if you're able to stay on at least for the rest of the meeting time, we can stay on just to answer questions and chat with you. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording and say thank you to you all, and please feel free to stay on if you want to talk through anything in particular.